Classic Star Wars.
Just so everybody knows. Well, welcome to streaming. No, it's not. It's the streaming Star Wars. See, I screwed it up right off the bat.
Got
It's
him.
Force Connect. Look, I've been saying streaming Star Wars for almost
Run it
a year.
back.
We'll start over. Everybody, please step away and come back. No, welcome to Force Connect, a part of the streaming Star Wars network. How's that? That works out well. I'm Pete Fletcher, one of your hosts. I'm joined, as always, by Mr. Chris Ryans and Mr. Nick Milkey. Gentlemen, it's a Friday night. How we doing? It sounds like you're doing either really good.
Doing fantastic.
All right. I love it. And Mr. Nick, you just came from a local chili cook-off. Are you gonna be all right? You can make it through the show, you think? Or
I did, and I don't want to brag because that's
Sure.
not usually my move. I did just roll in from a chili cook-off. I got in the door about 10 or 12 minutes ago. T-shirt changed, dog let outside, drink poured, plugged in, ready to go. But I have to say, I also brought home the hardware, my friends.
Look at that.
Chili cook-off victory. We were
Les
victorious,
champions.
so
I love
it was worth all the effort. But more importantly than that, it was worth all the effort to be here with the two of you tonight and all of our friends and callers who are going to call in and hang out with us, because we're going to do what we love to do, which is have a drink and talk Star Wars.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Well, that's awesome, man. Well, congratulations. We're here with a world champion cookie cook-off, chili cook-off. I'm clearly having some issues already.
Is there like a championship belt that's on the way?
Yes, that's got
Belt has to be next. If it doesn't, I'm not going to compete next year without a belt.
You make your stand on that one right there. Well, welcome to Force Connect. As I said before, part of the streaming Star Wars network. We are so excited. We launched the network at the beginning of the year. We still have Around the Galaxy. This past week, we talked to probably the most soothing voice in all of Star Wars social media, Darth Chaco. What a great time we had with him. Greg Grunberg a week ago. Coming up this week, we'll have Dan Flores from the Dano channel. He'll be on Around the Galaxy.
Good dude.
You're still going to get podcast The Whills, but that's going to start becoming more of a deep dive kind of show. And of course, you're going to get your Friday night show here every single Friday with some combination of the three of us, hopefully the three of us all every week. But hey, we all have lives. We have chili cook-offs to win. We have bigger things and more important things to do. Make sure to join us in the chat. We just put the link up. We want to hear from you. We want your phone calls throughout the show. We're no longer putting it off to the end. If we say something you want to jump in on, please do so. We definitely want to hear from you. And hey, we mentioned it on the social media the other day. If you join us, we have a keychain and it says "shill" on it, and it'll be sent to you at some point. I can't make it work. Whatever. There's, it's blue. It says "shill," and you need it to show what your Star
Embrace
Wars.
the shill.
Embrace the shill. We are going to be talking about the brand new season of Bad Batch. There's also been some Star Wars news and rumors and leaks throughout the week. But before we get going, maybe Nick, do you want to do our regularly scheduled toast?
Of course I do. Last week was kind of our New Year's, just ahead of New Year's Eve on the 30th. We kicked off. We talked about new beginnings. We talked about the launch of streaming Star Wars Network, all the changes, all that kind of stuff that we're going through. So it wasn't technically the new year yet. We could do that again. But what I want to toast to tonight, and of course we're going to get into it, is the return of the Bad Batch. But with the return of the Bad Batch, and I think, Pete, you said it in a tweet that I saw earlier, even today, is not that it has gone away. I don't want anybody to take it this way. The return to fun in Star Wars, because the Bad Batch is fun. It is fun, adventure stories, telling, that kind of stuff. And for all the bullcrap that we get caught up in Star Wars, in social media, in fandom, the Bad Batch is a quality representation of something that's meant to be fun. There's fun stories. It pulls on threads of lore and canon and things that we want to know about. This week it's Dooku. But it's fun. And I love fun in Star Wars. And I think that we've kind of unofficially, one of our big things for 2023 is to continue to embrace the fact that this is supposed to be fun and it's supposed to be a place where we hang out and enjoy something that we love. So I'm raising my glass tonight to not only you fellas, not only to the people in the chat, but also to the return of fun in Star Wars. So cheers.
Cheers. All right. So we, like we said, we are going to be taking your calls. We launched a new feature this week called hashtag Ask the Council. We got 1 or 2 questions from you. We're very excited about it. Make sure you do it during the week. Basically, you own the show. If you're a listener, if you're hanging out with us on a Friday night, we want you to take over the show. Tell us what you want to hear. Ask us a question. We'll go into conversation about it, give some opinions on it, and then we'll roll from there. But so we are going to get to the Bad Batch conversation in just a minute. We're just going to take a real quick break, and when we come back, we are talking Bad Batch.
Continue with the operation. You may fire when ready.
What?
Commence primary ignition.
And we're back. Nick, lead us through the conversation. You were just talking about how excited you are about Bad Batch coming back. Lead us through a conversation, and let's talk about how we feel about the show coming back. And again, if you're watching, hit that link. Join us. We want to hear what you think.
Absolutely. This is the thing, and just to set up as my tiny little bit of background information, Clone Wars was never originally my thing.
Yeah.
And, it came in a time period in my life. Like, it was something I watched it a couple times, didn't grab me in the moment. What made me really go back to Clone Wars was Rebels. I've talked about that a million times. Using Clone Wars as a reference book, going back to watch different arcs, watch different stories that came up in Rebels, came up in other parts of the canon and the lore. But when Clone Wars Season 7 came out, I was fully on board. And I think that definitely had a lot to do with Ahsoka.
For sure.
The first 4 episodes of Clone Wars Season 7 was that Bad Batch arc where we get introduced to the Bad Batch. And those first 4 episodes, I liked it fine. It wasn't a big deal. But from the beginning of the Bad Batch, when Season 1 came out, I guess the year before last now, it wasn't even actually last year.
Yep.
When that first season, I was hooked from the beginning. Even the little tease in Clone Wars Season 7, these characters, I was interested. The animation is beautiful. I remember we had some Twitter live spaces on some of those afternoons, Pete, after, I was at gymnastics in the car. You were, somewhere with one of your kids.
Yep.
We did some live. And one of the things that I kept coming back to was how beautiful the animation was, how cinematic the animation was, the music, and just these characters. So the return of that series, I have really been looking forward to this more than I thought I would be initially. So for it to be back, of course, I'm excited. And again, what I said in the toast was, it was fun. Like, there's a bunch of lore and some little tidbits along the way that, I want to hear from you guys about. But the thing I love so much about it is it's fun adventure Star Wars. And sometimes we joke in Rebels, it's, moving boxes around. There's an episode of moving crates from one place to another, or, a side quest droid adventure.
Yep.
But Bad Batch still there's the heart in it. And of course, as a parent and the Omega and the dad, I'm wearing the Dad Batch shirt tonight. Like, I can't help but be on board for the emotional components mixed with the fun, the adventure, the whole deal. So I'm thrilled that it's back. I would love to, I'll throw it to Chris to start off. Like, what were the big things that hit for you in these first 2 episodes? Because we got a good, start to it.
I would say still seeing that stranglehold that the Empire has, and I think what really helps that and makes them even more menacing to me is coming off of Andor.
Mhm.
And just seeing what the Empire is all about and seeing what they're doing here with they're raiding or not even raiding, it's just it's the Empire, it's theirs.
Yeah.
They're just going to taking all of Dooku's stuff, they're getting all of his valuables and everything, just to to keep that Empire, the War Machine going. So
Mhm.
I love seeing that. I love that, and I'm not sure how much time has passed between season 1 and season 2, but
Right.
I love that they have different looks now, that they've kind of abandoned their armor, or at least the way the armor looked while they were fighting for the Republic.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
got a different look now,
Yeah.
and how far along Omega's come has really like been a delight to see.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to seeing more of her. And uh Wanda Sykes being in Star Wars, I think
Wanda
that's
Sykes.
amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
know, it's so amazing. I felt bad
Yeah.
for Dan for like a couple of seconds because here comes Sid, but
Yeah.
he's gonna have to deal with that. But
That's right.
yeah, I thought it was fun, and like you were saying, it's almost like we've come off of PTSD from watching Andor. Um,
Mhm.
because I mean, like how like I am after every show, I'm like, oh,
Yep.
oh. So this one, it was nice just to get back to, okay,
Yeah, it
there's
was
some
fun.
tension and
Yeah.
an adventure there and whatnot. So it's a nice it's a nice mix, and
Mhm.
yeah, I love it. I love what they're doing. It started off great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Pete, what about you?
Yeah, it's interesting because when I'm with you 100%. In fact, yeah, I was I think it was our friends at Tatooine Sons. They posted up, out of 5 stars, what would you rank what would you rate the opening 2 episodes? Everybody's like, solid 2 or 3, and I'm like, what do you expect from the first 2 episodes of the episode thing? And I gave it 4 out of 5 because exactly as you pointed out, Nick, it was the return to pure Star Wars fun after I
Yep.
feel like it's a record, but it's very true. After Andor, which was so well, which was HBO drama level series, stories, deep things
Yeah.
that just pulled us apart every week, to running away from giant crabs and trying um to just make their way out and work together. I thought it was just great
Mhm.
to see them all back at once. Yep. Yep.
Absolutely. And I loved, because again, it feels a little bit like, of course, we got Tales of the Jedi in 2022. I like this little bit of a Dooku renaissance that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Tales of, and that's a fascinating character. And I didn't read Dooku Jedi Lost. I don't remember now in the moment if that is a part of the new canon or not. Is it? Okay, Chris, it is. So I need to read it because I know that there's a lot to that character. And honestly, in Tales of the Jedi, which was not my favorite thing that Star Wars has ever done, I enjoyed it fine. I love the Ahsoka parts and her rehearsing the thing that we see her do in Clone Wars season 7.
Yes.
Being stunned over, like, I loved all those tidbits. And again, I love how Star Wars has such a space to go back and fill in gaps and fill in bits and fill in, Chris, you've talked about that a lot, even with the original trilogy and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that we get some more of that with Dooku, not only in Tales of the Jedi, but we're going to Sereno to raid his war chest, to pull on these little threads, to pull on these little bits. And part of what I love about the Dooku story, and part of why I need to read that book, is, to me, Dooku represents a lot of what Luke talks about in Last Jedi when he's talking to Rey, and the hubris of the Jedi and the failure of the Jedi and the things that, are being dealt with. So I love that we get that in Bad Batch. But like you said, Pete, we're also getting chased by giant crabs. We have, the teaching moments with Omega, not only her actual school moments, she's learning about shuttles. Is this a Tidarium class? Is that, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But also, and I think I put it on Twitter, the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade moment when, and I forget which one of them's holding her hand and she's trying to get the backpack full of the jewels still. And it's Indy and Elsa in Last Crusade, let it go. You have to come on. like it just hits me in those storytelling adventure feels that makes me go, holy crap, I can't wait for the next episode. Like I'm excited about it again, which is what you want from a Star Wars or anything that you're interested in.
Yep. Yeah, and it definitely, even my one nitpick would be it didn't need to be kind of 2 episodes. It could have been 1 episode, right?
Right.
I don't know. I think just kind of the big surprises that came along the way with it. I think we can. Why don't we do this? We did get one of our Ask the Council questions came in specifically to Bad. So let me. So we got our very first Ask the Council question from our friends at Nerd Herder. Always love hearing from them, seeing from them. And they said, which direction do you think the Bad Batch crew will go by the end of season 2? Will it be Echo's rebellion side or Hunter's life on the run? I'll lead off. I think it's going to be a combination of the two. I think by the time this ends, I think and it would be a very unique sort of way to tell the story, I think. But I think they're gonna take separate paths. I think some of them are gonna go. I think Echo's gonna follow down that rebellion path, and I don't know. I think we're gonna see. I mean, because Rex ends up, as we know, even though he's not part of the Bad Batch, but we know him and Gregor and Wolf. Is it Wolf? End up on a tank out in the desert somewhere, just avoiding everything. So I think there's going to be different ways to respond to what happens. And as we're seeing, it's what I also think is interesting is that it's not just Hunter who's the father figure anymore. They're all father figures. I would say Wrecker is probably kind of the crazy uncle, but everybody else is kind of taking on a bit of a father figure.
For sure. Well, and I'm going to jump in before Chris, because Chris responded to the Nerd Herder question on Twitter and said, "Oh, I have thoughts." So before I give Chris the floor, just a couple of things that I want to throw in there. I have to say, Hunter's life of adventure is probably where I'm leaning, but I have to be fully transparent with both of you, my friends, and all of our friends who are watching along with us. I spent an inordinate amount of time over the last 2 days thinking about which members of the Bad Batch would be which members of the A-Team, because the Bad Batch to me pretty much from the beginning has been Star Wars A-Team.
Right.
And it's pretty obvious that like Wrecker can fill the Mr. T role. He can be BA. He's the big guy. He's, they're going to get one over on him. They're going to whatever.
Oh, pity the fool.
Exactly. The challenge is, for me, the challenge has been with Hannibal, because there's a part of me that wants Rex to be Hannibal. Like he's the one that's wise and gives out the orders and the missions. But Rex isn't really a part of the Bad Batch.
Right.
So is that Hunter, but Hunter's also kind of face. Like there's a lot of, I've spent too much time thinking about this guy. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
But as far as their question goes, like Space A-Team is what I feel like Bad Batch is. And like, they say in that trailer that we got before the season started, there are others out there in the galaxy that need help.
Yep.
And so that kind of fed that vibe for me. So I'm on a Hunter's, life of adventure, less the rebellion, more helping people that need help kind of mode. Now, with that being said, by all means, let me get out of the way and pass it over to Chris Ryans.
I may come off as a downer sometimes when I express what I think the outcome of certain characters are going to be.
Wait, but you say that, but we have Dan in the chat saying that everyone's going to die. So
that's because Dan is my Proaxian partner, and he and I are like this when it comes to certain things. Let's take Grogu for example. He's going to be the big bad in the sequel trilogy. Grogu the Destroyer. It's going to happen. You'll see. You'll all see. All right. But if we can talk about Bad Batch for a second, and I said this on, I think it was Dan and I were on the first episode of the Clone Zone, I think, on Star Wars Explained.
Yep.
When the first episode came out. And I said what I think is going to happen because I, unlike you guys, read the comics. And I looked at them and I was like, this is literally Scar Squadron.
Yeah.
It's look at the visage. All right, look,
Yep.
Wrecker. There's Hunter right there. Where's the I don't know who that is. I think
He got one with the iPad on his arm.
Yeah, well, this guy, this Sergeant Creel. So he's human. He's a regular human. But so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. Tech. You know, Crosshair. Look. Okay,
they're putting the image in there.
All right. And, look, Tech, Wrecker, Hunter, Crosshair. And there's Echo.
With the lighted visor. Who's that?
Which one?
On the left with the lighted visor.
Oh, that's Tech.
Yeah. Okay, that's Tech.
That's Tech, or that's Echo, and Echo. That's Wrecker, Hunter, Crosshair. It's right there. And you know what happened when I saw it the first time? I got yelled at in the chat from people like, "How could you? How could you say that?" Blah, blah. Let me explain something to you guys, and you two will understand what I'm saying. Watch Optimus Prime die right before my very eyes.
Yep.
11, and I had to deal with it. These people that are over 20 upset because maybe the Bad Batch are going to have a bad outcome. Suck it up. Life sucks. Grab a helmet. Listen, this thing could go three ways as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Either they get reconditioned into Scar Squadron, Task Force 99.
Yeah.
They their DNA is somehow copied and they make a new, a Bad Batch Task Force 99. Or a combination of the two, and then these guys die off. Or even a fourth one. Maybe no. That's right. There's only three, but I think Omega survives. But Omega, just like what Lando does in the comics, he's making it his mission to cure Lobot, to bring him back from being the way that we see him.
Right.
And maybe, that's her mission going forward, is to find them again and somehow bring them back. Maybe.
That'd be cool.
I know I sounded like a downer and whatnot, but listen, when it comes to anything coming out of Clone Wars, the only person who made out well from the Clone Wars is Sheev Palpatine. It's the only person who well, the end of this is it went great for me. How about you guys?
Good news here. Yeah, that's right.
So that's where I'm at with that.
That's a fair point. So it's interesting because I wonder if they almost have to make some direct connection now, right? I mean, at the very least, as Dan was saying in the chat, maybe they make human versions of, maybe they combine the DNA somehow or do something to get, because one of the questions I think that has not been specifically answered, and if it has, let me know, is was Clone Force 99 specifically created, or were they a happy accident, right? Did they try to create those particular mutations, or did they just did they sort of say, okay, these guys are broken but they're valuable, let's make it work? And maybe it's this, whatever Nala Se has sitting in her she's probably got some of those extra pieces, right? Ready. Maybe she's going to be making something. Who knows?
I mean, when you see, it is Mount Tantus, right?
Yep.
Is that where they're?
Yes.
And you see that they're taking this cloner there into this cloning facility, and you see that one Imperial scientist who comes out wearing the same uniform that I keep forgetting dude's name with the glasses.
Dr. Pershing.
Thank you. And it all leads to that. All that is for to get Palpatine and to that whole thing, his contingency plan. But there's so many more things that they could do with that. And I'm telling you, there's so much on cloning in this whole thing. It has to be, or else to me that is like when people say, why didn't Luke, Leia, Han, Lando, and Chewie go on geriatric adventures in the sequel trilogy? A missed opportunity. This would definitely be a missed opportunity if they don't do this.
Yeah, I think there's certainly that direct, and again, I think I think there's a very good reason, not to over speculate, but I think there's a very good reason why when they gave out the screeners to some of our friends, people we know, none of the three of us got screeners, but that's hey, I'm fine, I'm okay.
Yeah, we're fine.
I'm going to be okay. But they gave them 14 of the 16 episodes.
Mhm.
They deliberately left the last 2 off, which makes me think there's something big happening. And the last episode is called Plan 99.
Right?
So I think it's going to.
I have a theory. Well,
What's
not I
it?
have a theory.
What is it?
I texted you. I think I texted you, Pete. Maybe I texted both of you. I don't remember. In was it the first episode? Second, one of these 2 episodes, they said go to Plan 00, which was radio silence.
Yep.
And we know that the episode title for the final episode is Plan 99.
Mhm.
So if you go from 0 to 9, if we look at our traditional, number, keyboard, whatever,
Mhm.
if Plan 00 is radio silence, my posited theory is, what if Plan 99 is go make a bunch of noise to distract from something else in order to draw diversion, create attention, draw the Empire's attention away from something else, whether it's the escape of Omega. If Grogu were to show up, we don't know what's going to happen in this whole mode, but what if 00 and 99 are actual legitimate opposites of one another? There could be something there.
Could very well be. It could be a direct connection. Well, we want to hear your thoughts, and we want you to dial in. We're going to come back with one of our callers right after we take a real short break, and we'll be right back, still talking about Bad Batch on Force Connect.
Well, we're back. We are moving right along in what we have said from the beginning of really streaming Star Wars, but Force Connect is what this show is. Force Connect is the show where you are the guest. You are the guest. We want to throw that link in the chat. So if you're watching right now, if you have thoughts about Bad Batch, we're going to talk about some other fun stuff. Hit the link, call in. We want to hear from you. And that being said, we have a caller on the line ready to go. So Pete, hit the video and let's get our first caller in.
Hello.
There he is.
What's up?
The man, the myth, the legend. Brian.
How are you, boys?
In the house.
How are you, boys?
Excellent. Look
How's
at
it
that
going,
hat
man?
you're rocking.
Good. That's it. I had to wear it because of what we're discussing tonight.
Very appropriate. I have a good
Um,
Clone Wars Bad Batch hat in my closet, and it's in the house. No, I should have planned ahead. You're way better at this than I am. You can just have my spot. How's that sound?
I have like 3 Star Wars hats that just sit right here for this purpose.
Nice. I like it.
No, but
How are
as
you?
much as I'm doing fantastic, and you yourself, Nick?
Excellent. Tell us about these first 2 episodes of Bad Batch and what worked for you, what didn't work for you. Where are we at this far?
Well, it all worked. I mean, for me, I was not like you. I was not a huge Clone Wars person, but like these guys have like kind of, they're my boys. It seems.
Sure.
I don't know why. It just kind of they've spoken
It
to
works. Yep.
me. I thought the 2 episodes were amazing. Tech is the most hardcore clone that there's ever been. Now we all know that.
Yes.
Dude walked around and like your femur is the hardest bone to break in the human body and the most painful one if you do. And dude breaks his femur and then just goes and fights off a bunch of troopers afterwards.
He's like, it's okay, I got it.
He shows no emotion. He's so analytical. He's like, I'm just going to not pretend that there is no pain. I ignore that because that's emotions, and I'm just going to work through it. But as much as with everything else, like Chris and like Dan was saying in the chat, something bad's going to happen to him. I mean, my feeling is, and this is going into that straight, like, theoretical sports radio stuff you guys have said a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Something must happen that's going to drive Rex and Gregor and Wolf into hiding. And I really have the scary feeling that it's something that happens to these guys.
Yeah.
Can you bring up that picture one more time? It's right there. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. And obviously, I don't know the comics as well as Christopher does. I don't think anyone other than maybe Charles Soule does.
I don't know about that. But
yeah. Okay, not even Charles. Okay, sorry.
No.
But yeah. But I didn't think Creel was human because isn't he like bright red and stuff in the comics?
He's a little I think he's disfigured in a way. I think there was some kind of accident. So he's a little disfigured.
Because I know he was like introduced in Narshada or something as like the game master, and he was all disfigured and stuff. So I wasn't sure if that was him being disfigured or him just being like a not exactly human, nearish human thing.
Yeah, I forgot what planet he's from, but he sees the Empire as heroes and everything.
Yeah,
so that's why he's doing it. But no, I think he is human. But yeah, I think he's just disfigured.
Okay, you're the person that anyone I think would go to for any comic stuff. So
Alex from Star Wars explained he exists, so he knows way more than I do.
Yeah, but I don't have conversations with him. I'll have conversations with you.
See, it's all about access, buddy. It's all about access. So we talked a little bit about, obviously the fun of Star Wars kind of showed back up in Bad Batch. It's adventure. It's, I think we're going to get into some adventure of the week mode with
bright shiny colors.
The overarching thing. Yeah. Shiny speeders, the whole deal. Was there anything, particular moment, particular thing that popped up, that showed up, that spoke to you, you really liked? What were your highlights?
I mean, part of the things that I did like was when they met the random Serenese guy that was hiding out in the woods.
Romar was that his name?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Just that it kind of humanizes that not everyone was all about Dooku, and realize that not only was Dooku part of the whole regime that messed up and brought this galaxy-wide war to the whole galaxy, but he also screwed up his home planet.
Right.
Yeah.
And there was somebody else that posted something on, actually, I think it was in the thread. Dan might have said it, and I know Dan's hanging out in the background. We're going to get to him in a minute. There was something about, this idea of Dooku representing, the upper class, the royalty, the ruling class, and, Romar, this guy that's living in the woods. Like, it's not necessarily just a rebellion. It's not just necessarily just a government. Like, there's a bigger picture here. And that's something that, Chris, you talked about it, the development of the Empire. That was one of the things I loved about the first season of Bad Batch, is we saw, chain codes, and we saw people being forced to register, all that kind of stuff. We've seen more of that develop, not only in Bad Batch, but in Andor, and we get more of that too. And so what he's saying is, we're not, I forget what he said, but he said something like, we're Serenese, we're not, Dooku's people, or whatever, however he phrased it. There was that phrase that was like, we're actually our own people, and that creates its own, power.
And I know even there was the issues with Dooku, that there was a lot of arguments about Dooku over the last 2 days. How Some people after Tales of the Jedi seem to be like, oh, Dooku wouldn't, loot and pillage all these worlds to fund his war. Of course he would. I mean, Dooku in, the Clone Wars and post-Clone Wars now is an absolutely different person than you saw in Tales of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
He just went, it was like a switch went off. He is absolutely not the same person. I mean, the person that we saw in Tales of the Jedi is not the Dooku that we knew from even the Clone Wars series.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're vastly different people. And it's not that it wasn't a slow thing. He became a Sith Lord.
Yeah.
And that just became completely corruptive. And, wars aren't cheap. So the easiest way to fund wars is to, rape and pillage.
Yeah.
As we have shown through history.
Mm-hmm.
And he's bankrolled enough of it on his own, but he's he's not going to do it all out of his own pocketbook. So he's going to.
Because he's not going to turn Sereno into a wasteland to fund the war for Palpatine throughout the whole galaxy. He can't do that. He's going to steal it from everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Like every government does throughout the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
It's really fascinating. And like I said at the top of the show, like I didn't know that I was going to be at a point on January the 6th that I thought, ooh, I need to read Dooku Jedi Lost because maybe I've missed out on, a part of this story. But like what we got in Tales of the Jedi, what we're getting here, which is not super significant, but there are those threads there. And again, the brilliance of Lucasfilm, to plant those seeds, to draw those threads and tie it all together in a number of different ways. It's just fun. So, anything else? Let's go to the question. I think the question that Nerd Herder asked, where do you think this is heading? Is it Hunter and, we're going to bebop around the galaxy, or was it Echo with the rebellion? Was that the two? Was it Hunter and Echo?
Yeah.
I think they split up.
Okay.
I think they break up.
Nice.
And it's going to be a detriment to all of them.
Yeah, for sure. They absolutely operate as a unit. And, the dependence on each other, the family of it, that kind of thing. It's really powerful, but I can't wait to see where it goes.
I mean, as much as they are all in for protecting Omega, I think that Rex is going to draw at least Echo into the nascent rebellion.
Sure. I can't wait to see where it goes. And obviously we've got another episode coming up in, 4 short days.
Couple days.
That'll be here soon.
Brian, thanks so much for calling in. It's always good to see your face. It's always good to talk to you. Happy Friday, and
happy Friday.
May the Force be with you, sir.
May the Force be. See you later this week, Christopher.
Oh, the big match. The big match. All right, sir. Good luck. Get to studying, would you? Huh?
Oh, I am.
Oh, he's still here.
What happened?
All right.
That was one of those classic Nick and Pete both click the same button situations. All
No
right.
worries.
We have several callers hanging out in the background. This is very exciting. We're going to go to this first caller. It's a little bit questionable. This is a man of the world. This is a man out and about in the world. We're going to go to this caller right now. I don't honestly know what we're going to get based on what the preview is, but Pete, give me a video so we can get this fool in here.
All right.
Oh, thanks the Force! Come here, you little womp rat!
Scotty.
Door.
We're joined by
Scotty
Scotty
J.
J.
Rowe.
Rowe.
I've been
If
home
I'm not,
for
and Katie.
What are you kids
Yeah,
doing?
quality- the quality's probably not good, but I'll talk as much as I can. You might have to boot me out. But I really enjoyed Bad Batch quite a lot. And I said it on Bomb Badcast a couple of nights ago. I said that what I enjoyed most about it was that it was so different than Andor. And I mean that wholeheartedly. It was the tone. I left that episode feeling super like we're back. You know, it's a very family friendly thing. I described it like this, and like I said, I don't know if y'all can hear me, but I described it being the scene where Luke, Leia, and Han and Chewie are escaping the Death Star, and that's the whole 2 episodes. It's just a lot of that. You know how that makes you feel. You know how that moment makes you feel. It's like dramatic. It's fun. It's exciting. There's just nonsense. I missed that, and I'm very happy to have that back every Wednesday. And I mean that wholeheartedly. I've really missed that feeling.
Yeah, that was kind of the mindset that I was bringing to it. Is it's very much adventure, and to your point, it doesn't hurt that it's animation, and that's kind of a challenge I think for the show broadly. But I think it's nice that it was 50 minutes of from one action piece to the next, and let's face it, Andor. While the story was fantastic, there wasn't a ton of action. And so this was kind of a different return to Star Wars, which was nice, for sure.
Yes. And we just need to make a clarification for Nerd Herders' sake. Yeah. Scotty is not at Target. Scotty is at Home Goods right now.
About Home Goods with the future betrothed that I'm pretty sure everyone watching this was invited to. Everyone in this screen is invited.
There she is.
She's dancing.
Breaking it down to Home Goods. Scotty, so here's what I'm going to ask you before we get out of here, if you can hear me. Where do you think this is heading?
Say it one more time.
Where do you think Bad Batch Season 2 is heading? Are we heading towards Hunter's Life of Adventure, or are we heading towards Echo and the Rebellion?
I think we're heading towards Echo and the Rebellion, but almost like the Rebellion we don't see, you know, like the getting funds kind of stuff, kind of like Andor was, I guess, weirdly enough.
Okay.
Like, I think it's going to be a lot of, I think it's going to be a whole lot of just all these weird little canon threads.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. Well, I think
communications disruption can mean only one thing: invasion.
I think in this case I think it can only mean just Home Goods. Yep. Clearly, I think
Home Goods. That's right. Works every time.
Oh,
well, the good news is we got to hear from Scotty. We got to hear some fun stuff, some thoughts. I love where he's coming from. I like it. You know, it is that same Andor thing, and I love it again. The brilliance of Star Wars is we weave these threads together, whether it's in animation, whether it's in live action. We're getting big stories fleshed out, and that's what makes storytelling so good. So Scotty's points are valid, but we have another person who has big thoughts. He's ready. I've been watching him in the background the whole time, like hands are going, like we're ready. So Pete, we've got to run a video, and we've got to get in somebody that Chris gets to talk to a lot.
Here we go.
Oh no.
Brief Karga said you were coming.
The one and only Daniel Miller.
Chris has the face my mom always makes.
Enough.
Chris has the face my mom always
see
makes.
You and talk to you enough, man.
Incredible disappointment. And
my one night off, and here.
Yeah, we know.
Love it.
So, boy, when I watched this, the first thing I thought of was Dooku. The first person I thought of was Dooku. Now, look, I understand he's changed, right? But at the core, he's a Jedi. At the core, he has a higher purpose. At the core, Palpatine manipulated that for his purpose. But still, Dooku was thinking of a higher cause, which was order and peace in the galaxy. He believed that. And he also knew that the Jedi were flawed. But he still believed in being righteous, you know? It's just, yeah, he was corrupt. But the pillaging, nah. If it was to fund war efforts, totally, but not for his own personal gain. He was already born into wealth. He's got generational dollars. Like, he's fine. He doesn't need any more money. And it's just not his style. Yeah, he dresses in nice clothes and whatnot. You know, he keeps himself always looking royal. But as far as like him just being like, "Ooh, I'll take that box of treasure," I just literally I can't see it. No matter how like corrupt he got, he was only corrupted by like the purpose, just he was more, I guess you could say, fascist in a way that, he was about, if he had to force people to abide by the law, he would do it. But money just wasn't, I just don't see him as that guy to like be collecting all of that wealth for his own personal sake. Totally understand it. He's pillaging to fund the war effort.
Yeah.
And also on Sereno, I mean, those people were, they were beaten down, and he took advantage of Sereno, and he was probably the only one left on that planet with actual money. So I'm sure he drained their bank accounts as well, which is why, that one dude who probably had, a nice place and whatnot, and a good job, is living now like Yoda out in the woods. Dooku was for himself. Like, he wasn't for himself. He was for like his mind. He was doing all of this for the greater good in his mind, So the first thing I thought was like, yeah, it just doesn't make sense. But then when I put out our Unrefined Broaxium, catch it every new episode of anything coming out soon. Well, yeah. The thing is that like hold on. Let me just gather this back. But like he just doesn't care about that stuff. Like, that's just not him. It just didn't feel like him to me. And Cam Ray responded to that on our Twitter.
Yep.
And he made a good point where, this was how he was being portrayed by the Empire, because the Empire was still separatist bad,
Yep.
This republic turned into this new galactic empire that was going to fix everything and make everybody happy because we defeated the separatists. And Dooku was one of them. And you put that face on, and then everybody will just make up what they want to believe about him. Of course, he was pillaging for his own good.
Yeah.
No one knew anything about him besides the Jedi.
Right.
So I just don't think, maybe it wasn't like, I guess, Dave portraying him as this selfish, money grubbing, let's Scrooge McDuck and all of this cash kind of guy. I think that they did a good job at showing you how people can be manipulated, and the grapevine, and how just rumors can spread.
Yep.
And just Dooku's legacy, while he already tarnished himself, further being tarnished by the Empire.
Well, and honestly, at this point, based on the face that Chris just made, I think we're all going to go to sleep tonight with the image of Dooku diving into a big thing of coins, like Scrooge McDuck, that. It's stuck in my head.
I mean, even Jerry, like Jerry's saying, he was all. I'm not denying that he didn't like his stuff, but he already had tons of generational wealth. Like,
I think when
money.
Spoils of war, I think that is the Empire's spoils of war.
Right. Yep.
Like, we're taking all this stuff. Let's go to that rich dude's house and get all his shit. That's what I think that's all about.
He just
but
Dooku
was just like, he flaunted it like mad, but
did he? He just wore nice clothes. You never see
Dooku
like, I'll take that expensive thingy. Like, he never dropped money down.
But in the Jedi Order, like, where everyone else was like robes, tunics, and all that stuff, he's like cape and all this finery and whatnot. So he did set himself apart a little bit from the others.
I also take that as that's how he was raised. Alderaanians dress nice too. That doesn't mean that they're selfish. They're all about class and style, and it's a very rich, prosperous planet. They all are dressed to the nines.
Yeah,
like,
but I think depending whatever culture you come from, when you join the Jedi Order, you dress like a Jedi. You leave all that stuff behind. And he was like, nope, I'm gonna wear my finery, sir.
Yeah.
Here's the very inept comparison I'm going to draw, and it doesn't completely work, but it's the best one I have. Samwell Tarly in Game of Thrones. He comes from
which one?
The Tarleys. He was Jon Snow's best friend, the chubby guy.
One of the best characters ever.
Yeah, but his dad, and he wanted to be a maester. He was the smart guy, the book reader, all that stuff. But he came from, his dad was, not royalty, but he was a lord, he was a whatever. But then he joined the Order of the Wall. He was sent to the Wall. His dad sent him to make it. Again, the comparisons are not going to be exact. It's not going to line up completely. But also, like, he came from, a higher status. He came from a higher place. And Dooku came from that higher place, but was also trying to be a Jedi. So he was trying to find that middle ground of, like, I come from a higher status. And like you said, Chris, it wasn't plain robes. It wasn't whatever. Honestly, the ship that he had in, Attack of the Clones, with the thing that goes out with the sails, like, that's a fancy ass ship. Like, it's cool. It wasn't, Anakin's freaking RV Eagle One from Spaceballs. Like, it was a whole different, other thing.
The Winnebago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I will not argue the fact that Dooku loves to look nice, and like, look, he was still in while every other Jedi were taken from their parents and stuff, they never see their parents ever again, anyone in their family or nothing. They are just taken away. Not Dooku. He was still in contacts with Sereno because he was an heir to that royalty. So he was still raised to know that he was royalty, So like, he already, like, that mindset was with him. But like, yes, the Dooku we got in the Jedi Tales, he cared, and I believe he still cared all the way up until being manipulated. And even being manipulated, he still cared in his own way. And he was corrupt. I just don't think he was pillaging that money for himself. He was pillaging it for the war effort because he already had his own money. That's all. That's my only thing. And
war chest.
Yeah, exactly. And and it was just, people's perception of him, the commoners, they whisper down the lane thing where stories get exaggerated and twisted and whatnot. And the money's at Dooku's palace, but separatists could have stored it there until they
from a very from a very basic standpoint, he was the leader of the separatist movement, and so of course he's also going to be bankrolling it, and he's going to manage all the finances. And so in the case of this, it's cartons and cartons of shiny heavy stuff, as they called it in the episode. So.
And Nick, by the way, I love, like, when you shot that comparison with Indy. Oh my God. I was like, no freaking way. And like, that's totally Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
It's totally Dave. Like, he's always taking things from other movies. Jaws with the freaking big worm that they caught. It's just so perfect the way he does that. I loved it. I can't believe I didn't see it.
It was very Last Crusade.
Yeah.
Indy and Elsa. And who was, I forget who the clone was that was holding Omega.
It was Echo.
It was Echo. Yeah.
Oh, it was
like,
Echo. Yeah.
That let it go moment, that whole thing, like, it was just a lot of fun.
Ponkrell was justified, Brian.
Don't talk to the chat, Dan. Be quiet. Dan, thanks so much for calling in. It's always good to hear from you. It's always a pleasure to get to hear your thoughts, your opinions. We knew on the Twitter post we put up early this afternoon that you were ready to go. So thanks for chiming in. Happy Friday. Happy New Year. It's good to see you.
Love you guys.
Take it easy, man.
See you, buddy.
See you. Bye.
Peace, brother.
Excellent.
Well, we're going to keep these calls going. And we thank you, Dan, and the callers so far for coming in. We're going to keep callers going, but we're going to take a real short break. And when we come back, we're going to continue the Bad Batch conversation with a couple callers who are waiting to get on board. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Oh wait, we're back. I'm just over here vibing to that kicking music we got going on.
Yeah, so that was a great conversation. We still have a couple callers left. Make sure to
Yep.
hang out with us and join us next week. I don't know if you saw it on the little clip there during the break. Next week we are going to be joined by Mr. Clayton Sandell, and we're going to be talking about behind the scenes documentaries that are available on Disney Plus. Talking about some of his favorites, just because of what he has done in the past. But Nick, I believe we have another caller.
Yes, we do.
All right, let's bring him in.
Go for Papa Palpatine.
You have a collect call from
Darth Vader.
I gotta take this. Hold on.
We are back, and we have the pleasure of our friend Connor. Connor,
what's up, guys?
Are you, sir?
I am doing all right. I'm hanging in there. How are you guys?
We're fantastic. Excellent. What's on your mind this Friday night, especially as relates to the Bad Batch? Your thoughts, our thoughts. Where you at?
Well, before we get to that, I just have one question for Chris.
Yeah.
You ready?
He's already prepared. The posture tells it all.
All right, cool. Now, in regards to Bad Batch, I don't really have many thoughts. I just thought.
Wait! I thought you had a question for Chris.
No, that was it. Are you ready?
No, his question was, "Are you ready?"
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I co-wrote the upcoming match. So.
Oh man, these boomer calling shows, man. We don't know what we're doing.
Gen X.
Gen X. Yes. Anyway.
Awesome. All right, Connor. Bad Batch. What you got?
Well, yeah, Bad Batch. I don't really have many in-depth thoughts about it. I just overall thought it was pretty solid.
Yeah.
Really nice getting Star Wars animation back again.
Yep.
Hello, everyone. Because Star Wars animation for myself and probably for all of you here, it's just a really, really nice, just comfort spot with Star Wars for all of us, and it's just something we all can really look forward to and really enjoy wholeheartedly.
You know, it's funny you say that, because one of the things that I was thinking, I loved the 52, 56 minute Andor episodes, but there is something kind of nice about that 23-minute in and out, do the quick mission, give us the action, move the plot along, and it was something kind of cool about that. I will certainly say that for sure. Yep.
Yeah, it's a nice. I don't want to say it's a nice return to form, because like Star Wars' form has evolved over 40 years, but like quote unquote, it was a nice return to form, for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah.
Because like I grew up on Clone Wars, so sort of the adventure of the week or like arc of the week type stuff is something that I'm used to, and it seems that they're slowly getting back to that with Bad Batch, because that was something they didn't really do in season 1. And it's something I definitely noticed. And season 1, I'll just say this, season 1 of Bad Batch, there were some really solid episodes for me, but like as a whole, wasn't too big on the season.
Yeah, I'll admit, I felt like Bad Batch season 1 was about 4 or 5 episodes too long, right? There were some things in there that they could have streamlined a bit. So yeah, I'm with you. And it was very funny. And Nick was saying at the top, when he said when he first saw Bad Batch show up in Clone Wars, he was excited to see where they come in. I was like, we're going to get a whole season, a whole series on these guys, and they have grown on me really quickly. And you know, we've barely said the name Omega this hour that we've been talking, and her growth is really interesting, because there's no denying she's a part of the Bad Batch now. She's not a hanger on. I think there's again very Filoni like, that sort of subtle Hunter says, "Are you coming?" versus stay in the ship, which is what he did in all of season 1. Season 2, as they go and they enter the war chest, he's like, "Are you coming?" Which it gives you her new position, I think.
Dude, speaking of Omega with the war chest, I don't know if this was true for any of you guys, But like, I was sincerely hoping that like she was gonna escape the container with at least something
yes,
from the
yep.
chest. I was like, please, don't leave empty-handed.
Well, Connor, I won't
Give
be
the
surprised
kid
if she shows up at the beginning of next week's episode with, "Oh, but I did get this," and it will be something because Fee and Sid are gonna be pissed, right?
Oh yeah, they're gonna be so pissed. I like Fee too. She's pretty cool already. We haven't really seen much of her, but like, I'm not fascinated. That's not the right word, but like, I'm intrigued with what her character is. I'm like looking forward to what role she'll play, in this show.
Yeah,
and no, that's not Riva's mom. Let's stop that one right
no.
now.
It's
also, Chris, I want to say, I'm pretty much on board with the whole Scar Squadron thing because, like, come on,
it's right there.
Like,
it's
Task Force
so
99.
It's gotta be
like,
right.
Everyone's like, oh, they're gonna split up. They're gonna go this way. No, they're gonna be Scar Squadron.
Like,
I like what Brian says. I like what Brian says. She's gonna pull a bag of jewels out of her pocket like Mouth in the Goonies. That's an excellent.
That's an excellent reference.
Bring it in, tie it in together.
That's an excellent reference for a movie I need to rewatch. I haven't seen that movie in
don't. Oh my God, Connor, don't. You're about to get kicked out. Just
I grew up on that movie. I just don't remember.
All right, so I'm gonna get you out of here on this. Where is the future direction for the Bad Batch? Are we heading towards Hunter and Adventures of the Week, helping people out, or are we heading towards Echo and the Rebellion? Where you at?
I'm just along for the ride, man.
I like it. That's an excellent answer. Right down the middle. Connor, it's so good to see you. It's so good to hang out. It's so good to get a minute to hear your thoughts. We hope we'll see you next week, and we're going to send you on your way. So happy Friday.
Happy Friday, boys.
See ya.
We love hearing from Connor. We love when he calls in. We love hearing the thoughts he has. We have another caller.
I'm going to ask you to just delay for a second. Talk amongst yourself, because before we bring in the next caller, I just something I want to see if I can prepare for this next caller.
Okay. So, Pete's working on something. All right, Chris, I'm going to ask you another question.
Okay.
Connor, no, Brian brought up something really good. Wait, where'd it go? Yeah, Brian brought it up. Buck chimed in. Talk about Bad Batch and Goonies. Go.
Talk about Bad Batch and Goonies.
That's right. Where's the overlap? Where does it work for you? Where does it not work for you?
Well, I mean, listen, if we can get Cyndi Lauper to do a theme song for this thing, that'd be fantastic. Maybe Crosshair gets shot in the eye. We change his name to One Eye Willie.
I like it.
Hunter's definitely Bran.
Yeah.
I mean,
so you're saying that Hunter is Thanos? It's a whole different thing.
Yeah, Hunter. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
This is the crossover that Patton Oswalt imagined in Parks and Rec in that speech, way back in the day.
Is Data Tech or is he Echo?
Ooh. Data's definitely Tech.
Okay.
I think he's, and that's the thing. There's a very fine line between Echo and his like genetically built-in computer part of it, but then Tech is also like, I'm the tech guy and I create inventions and I do things like that could be in a show all by itself.
Oh wait, Chunk can't be Wrecker. Sloth is Wrecker.
Sloth is definitely Wrecker. Yeah, for sure.
And Mama Fratelli, that's
Sid, no question.
Wow. There are so
Here we are. That's right. It's the crossover you didn't know you needed. You only get that on Force Connect on Friday nights.
I like that. I like that.
Pete, you're muted. I can't hear you at all.
That's probably for the better.
Wait.
Yeah.
There he is. Okay. All right. Are we ready?
Yeah, I was going to say,
Right.
unfortunately, I'm unable to do what I wanted to do, but we'll get it for next time for sure. I'm sure.
All right. Let's hit this next caller.
Right.
Hello, what have we here?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the one and only Jerry the Canon Junkie in the house on a Friday night.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey,
What's up,
or as
brother?
I call it, Jerry's Thursday. I have to go to work tomorrow, but it's fine. It's fine. It'll be good. Anything for you guys. Hey, I'm doing good, Pete. I don't know. Were you when you said you were preparing something for your next guest? I was wondering if it was the bleep button or something.
Oh no, no. I
grew up in church. I got the shoe to the head. I know how to shut up. Well, sometimes.
Sometimes. How have you been, man? I feel like I haven't spoken to you in quite some time.
It has been an age, has it not? It's been a bit. Like just holidays. Trying to keep this house of cards from collapsing and bursting into flames. It's been great. But yeah, no, good. It's good to be here on the was this the second episode of Force Connect?
Yeah.
Back the relaunch.
The relaunch. Yeah.
Jerry.
Yeah.
Jerry.
Yes, sir. Chris.
I miss you,
my
man.
friend. I miss you too. I listen. All of you out there in YouTube land, none of you, I don't think, have ever gotten a Chris Ryan's hug. and at Celebration, I got some of those, and I'm like, this man let me kiss him on the cheek.
And
it was very tender, just because I love him so much. And I'm telling you, you don't remember that? Oh, I remember that.
There's a lot of that going on.
There's a lot. Dude, there's Celebration. I got kissed on the cheek so many times I can't tell you who kissed me on the cheek. It's one of those things. You throw a rock, somebody.
It's best we don't spend too much time thinking about that.
Let's not dissect it. Let's not dissect it.
Jerry, because you're here, and because I know you're a man of thought, and you're a man of who considers things. You're a and hold on, bear with me.
Okay,
I'm
you're
listening.
Also, you're a girl dad, like I am.
I am.
And we have the return of everybody's favorite group of dads with Omega. Where are you with Bad Batch and the 2 episodes we've gotten so far?
Well, I mean, they should change the name of the show to was it My 4 Dads? Right?
Exactly.
That kind of a thing. Like it's honestly, obviously I was very excited for Bad Batch and everything. Like I said, I again, like you're saying, I connected very much with being a father of a little girl, like Pete, I know you are too, and everything. And it's very, what has always fascinated me, or not fascinated, but captivated me and impressed me about the Bad Batch as a show, as a series, is that they have perfectly captured. They've captured the what was the word I used on Twitter the other day? They've captured the not really innocent, but like innocence, but also just pureness and earnestness of being a child through Omega. And a lot of that comes through, and I said it on Bombcast the other day, a lot of that comes through with Michelle Ang's performance. And I said on Bombcast that it is I think it's the best performance in any animation Star Wars we've gotten so far. Personally, that's my take, because it doesn't feel like, and I'm not saying, look, I don't want to disparage. Freddie Prinze Jr. played his like 13-year-old self in the first episode and everything, and he's like, hey, it's not bad. It's not.
He tried. He tried.
It's not, and it's I'm making light, but it wasn't bad. It's good. But Michelle Ang's performance, it doesn't feel like she's it doesn't feel like she's doing this. Like if I was gonna do Kid Jerry, I'd probably do something like this.
Right.
It feels like she's doing something.
I want
she
Kid
puts more
Jerry in the next
earnestness
animated show, by the way.
Oh,
great.
whoa! Where's the Bad Batch? Yeah,
Fantastic.
but I mean, sorry. All that wackiness aside and everything, these first episodes have been fantastic because you've seen a lot of growth in the entire crew. And I not to get too Dom from Fast and the Furious on this, but it's family, right? They feel more familial. They feel very like the whole what's Omega doing hanging off the ship? Unscheduled study break.
Yep.
Things like that.
That's great.
Just little, I mean, writing's terrific. Like the performances are great. And just the way that they mesh as a crew, it feels like the natural, like you guys were talking earlier, the natural evolution of where things go. They've always been very good at this. But the entire cast, crew, directors, everybody, they're doing a fantastic job of just pushing this to the next level. And I'm just so excited to see where this is going. They're like the twists of like Rampart showing up and killing the dude to keep quiet that the Bad Batch is alive.
That's fantastic.
Interesting. I'm interested to see that unravel. I assume that Crosshair made it back, but it's what did he tell them that? Is Crosshair out on his own or something? You know, I think we've seen him talking to Cody, right? Yeah. But like maybe he comes to him separately or something. Like maybe he's on his own kick now, you know, trying to find himself. That would be interesting. But I'm excited for that. But Chris, I have to say, I think the Scar Squadron is a possibility, but let me just put this forth with Mount Tantus. What if they clone the Bad Batch?
Okay, did you not listen to what I said, Jerry? I
started watching halfway through.
That was one of the okay. That was one of the options.
Sorry,
they clone.
Then we agree.
So they have a more receptive Bad Batch, a more like a Bad Batch with the same kind of programming that a regular clone would have. These guys.
What if that's the last scene of the season?
T-800.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes, Pete.
The T-800 Bad Batch.
That's what's happening. Put up the picture one more time. Look at them. There they are. It's happening.
We're just not paying attention to you, Chris, and it's not right. It's not right.
Well, does one of them have a screwdriver arm? That's what I want to know. You know. I know you can get a cybernetic arm or something.
They fixed it.
It would make
it fixed it.
Right,
or did they reclone Echo?
That's what I'm saying.
Echo?
That's
what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Echo wasn't born with the stuff sticking out of his head. And his arms and his,
no. So
they put that in there post facto. Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, no. Listen, but do I think that Omega's in one of those things? Oh no.
No. She's off on her own. She's going to find a way to bring them back. That's her journey.
Oh, okay.
And then she bumps into Boba in the second season of Book of Boba Fett. I can write this whole galaxy.
Man, you already got it. Like Chris has it storyboarded and everything. Like that's incredible.
You show up at Chris's house right now. There's a dry erase board with all these storyboards
with like the red wire and stuff to red string. All this first they become Scar Squadron, then
for sure.
Those aren't comic books on the wall behind him. Those are plans.
Those are my storyboards.
That's the story. But he makes it very impressive. You know, like who is Robert Rodriguez does the like the little action figure,
the little animatrix,
animatics and stuff.
Yeah. Animatics,
so, you do them with the comics and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's
why do you think I have so many Black Series figures? I work all this stuff out. They're just on display. No, they're helping me make my stories. No,
that's right. No,
Chris in a bubble bath, just like, oh no,
Jerry. Jerry, it's so good to see you. Sir. It's so good to hear from you.
It's good to see all of you as well.
Thank you for calling in. We love hearing your thoughts. Call us again next week. Let's talk about episode 3. Let's keep this magic
Oh my
going.
God.
It's always a pleasure to hang out with you, my friend.
You're welcome
All right,
every
It is.
time.
It
my
is a
friend.
pleasure. It's
All
always
right,
a pleasure. Good to see you guys. All right.
Be good.
Chris.
My lord, Jerry has arrived.
What?
One of my favorite things from the original Force Connect was
I'm
that
not kidding. I'm not kidding when I say the first time that video ran and I was watching as a Force Connect fan who wanted to be on Force Connect and hoped I made it into the show, that video every time, it was the best thing I'd ever seen. Like the best entrance, the best everything. Like that's the one.
That's great. Well, hey guys, it has been a jam-packed show. We heard a lot from callers. Callers, if you're still watching, make sure, and I'll put this up on Twitter, make sure to DM me so you can get your shill keychain in the mail. Jerry, I know you're still watching. This you will have your shill keychain. We'll even send you some shill stickers if we have any hanging around. But guys, this was a fantastic show. Mr. Chris, what's happening on Bro Axiom over the next couple days?
Well, let's see. Well, we have a new episode of Shooting the Poodle coming up on Sunday. No idea what they're going to be talking about, but it'll be fun. We have a few comics coming out this week. Very happy to read those. I think Darth Vader. I think there is a High Republic book. I think there's 2 High Republic books and something else. But I'm looking forward to those. We have a new show called Unrefined Bro Axiom. Now, this is an idea that
So cool.
that I had way back when Dan and I first started Bro Axiom, where it was going to be, back then it was going to be a 20-minute show where we'd have like one subject, one conversation, and we had to get it all out in that 20 minutes before that unstable, raw Bro Axiom explodes. But now, thanks to shorts and TikTok and all that stuff, we're making them like under 55 seconds. So we have to say what we got to say and get it all out there before the Bro Axiom explodes. So we have that going on. I think Star Bros have another episode next week that I'm looking forward to. And of course, Bro Axiom BX Gaming, with Roke and Dan.
Yeah,
got some stuff going on. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, we have for Around the Galaxy this week, we will have, and have you been listening? If you listened this past week, we had, as I said at the top, we had Darth Choco. You've also heard that Around the Galaxy in the next couple of weeks is going to be back and forth between Nick and I solo hosting, and then we're going to be co-hosting moving forward. We got some guests lined up. We're working on a handful of things, but this week,
exciting things even breaking just here in the last little bit.
Hopefully we confirm some of those up, which would be amazing. But for this week, speaking of amazing, we have Dan Flores from the Dan O channel, and we'll be talking to him, and then we'll be back next week, as I mentioned before, with Mr. Clayton Sandell, and we are going to be talking about behind the scenes stuff, which is such an interesting and important part of the Star Wars universe. You don't even think about it that often, but behind the scenes became a popular thing to learn about as a result of Star Wars, and it's a tradition that continues to this day. So Nick, I think that's about all we got for this week. Thanks to everybody for calling in. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us tonight. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and Nick, may the Force be with you
always.
Just one more round, friend, then homeward bound, friend. Don't forget me in your dreams. Just one more song, friend, and then so long, friend. The nights get shorter, it seems. Just one more rhyme, friend. Yes, it's a crime, friend. But you know time, friend. Time can fly. So it's good night, friend. Good night, but not goodbye.